Restrictions on protests in Sydney have not been extended a week after clashes in the city centre. The controversial laws grant police the power to refuse authorisation for public protests for up to 90 days after a terrorist incident. Now, to explain, we're joined by reporter Max Tillman. Max, what can you tell us?
Good morning. Well, as of 9:52 a.m. this morning, those controversial public assembly restrictions here in New South Wales have been officially lifted by the New South Wales Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon, with Mr Lanyon making explicitly clear it was his decision and his decision alone. One of the first questions that he was asked was, what role did last week's visit by Israeli President Isaac Herzog and those violent clashes that we saw here in Sydney at Town Hall, what role did they have in the ultimate decision to no longer extend these public assembly restrictions that have been in place since they were rushed, controversially indeed, through Parliament on Christmas Eve of last year in the wake of the Bondi terror attacks? We've seen them extended in 2-week increments ever since. Under the legislation, they can be extended for up to 3 months. Now, while the Police Commissioner did acknowledge those violent scenes on Monday, he did say that the arrival and the subsequent visit of the Israeli president played only a little role in today's decision to no longer extend those restrictions. At the same time, he's acknowledged that a lot of members of the community had mixed opinions on the restrictions, but at the same time, he has called for calm. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
I certainly accept that the restriction declarations have been felt by different parts of society in different ways, and I understand that there is tension in the community. We continue to work with all sections of the community. As a police force, we want calm and safety. Our job is to ensure public safety, and we'll keep working that way.
Now, the Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon made explicitly clear at this morning's press conference that that particular restriction and that 3-month window in which they can be extended in those 2-week increments can only occur off the back of a terror designation. He said once that particular extension has lapsed, it would require another terror designation to be reintroduced, him making it explicitly clear that that terror designation that really came in the hours after the Bondi shooting on December 14 of last year meant that once this particular restriction had lapsed, it could not be reintroduced until a second terror designation was made official by the New South Wales government. Now, at the same time, we have heard from the Premier, Chris Minns. He's effectively argued that these protest restrictions really prevented Sydney from seeing uglier scenes than we did see last Monday. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
Because police held the line and those restrictions were in place, we were able to avoid ugly scenes in Sydney's further than you would have seen last Monday night. Ugly scenes of demonstrators and mourners together clashing on the way to the memorial or the protests. We back the police commissioner here. It's his decision as to when it applies and where it applies. He does that based on the available evidence to him. But I just say to the people in New South Wales, that restriction was put in place in order to keep the people of New South Wales safe.
Now, as we heard there from the Premier, a sentiment echoed earlier by the Police Commissioner that the buck stops with Mal Lanyon. Now, at the same time, it does mean that Form 1s or protest permits are back on the menu here in New South Wales. The Police Commissioner making explicitly clear that it now means that those who are wishing to hold a public protest here in New South Wales can return to making applications to the New South Wales Police Force. Now, it is important to mention, of course, that these public assembly restrictions did not entirely outlaw protests, but what they essentially did was strip away a lot of the legal entitlements that lawful demonstrations have here in New South Wales, with demonstrators often being protected from smaller charges like jaywalking when they are under that Form 1 declaration. Now, the Commissioner has made clear that as it was before Christmas, before these public restrictions came into place, any Form 1 put before the Commissioner needs at least 7 days' notice.